Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. Well, the Grammys happened, and being a Madonna fan, there's really nothing to talk about. um, Now, Tracy Young was nominated for the remix of Madonna's I Rise, and I didn't really care a whole lot. But then I did hear that she's actually the first female um, mixer that's been nominated for a Grammy for a song non-classical, and I'm like, are you kidding me? I saw that and I'm like, oh, that's worth a video. That's worth a comment because that makes it something. And I'm just really shocked that that's the case. So she won it. Now, unfortunately, it's not one of the important Grammys. It's one of the ones that they do before the show that no one cares about. So it's not in the show. There's no video of her getting her award or whatever. Or there probably is from the show, but not from the actual Grammy um, performance, whatever, special, whatever they call it. So that's weird. It's like disappointing that Madonna didn't get any actual nominations. Disappointing that it's a single that she didn't produce. That it's like, Tracy Young did the single. Madonna didn't really have anything to do with it except doing the original. Then it's amazing because wow, she's the first female to get that nomination, and then she won it. But then no one really sees because it's in the before the show nomination. So that was all sort of weird. I did a little video for Madonna's, Grammys this year. If you saw that, you know what that was. I was trying to be funny. That's all. Don't take it too seriously if anyone actually watched that. I didn't share it anywhere, so I don't think anyone will see it anyway. Now, of course, the real winner of the evening was Billie Eilish. Now, I haven't Okay, being a Madonna fan, I've criticised other Madonna fans for this, and I'm a bit guilty of it myself, but we tend to just praise Madonna and forget everyone else exists. And I've certainly been guilty of doing that over the years. It took me a long time to give Britney a chance, and I loved Gaga at first, and I turned on her when she ripped off Express Yourself and claimed that she was inspired by no one, when she's clearly inspired by Madonna, Grace Jones, Bowie, and a shitload of other people. And one good thing Madonna always did was when she copied other people, did homages to other people like Marlene Dietrich and Marilyn Monroe, she acknowledged and she shared, and I learned about those people through Madonna. Gaga wasn't really doing that, so I turned on her for a while. I'm kind of forgiven her. But I have been a bit slow with other new artists coming up. But Billie Eilish kept getting my attention because of her horror themes, like just the album cover and when we go to sleep, where do we go? Just those sort of things were sort of getting my attention, but I'm like, I'm not going to get sucked in. They're not going to suck me in just because I'm a horror fan. And I hear Bad Guy everywhere, but I hadn't really listened to any of her music. And then I met this guy the other night, and he was sort of going on about her. I thought, oh, I'm going to have to listen to her soon. And then she wins the 4 big awards of the night. New Artist is not a surprise, but she also got Record of the Year, Album of the Year, and Song of the Year. So she got the big 4. And she's the youngest and the first woman to get all big 4, and she's the youngest woman to get, I think, all 4, or any of them. So I haven't done that much research, but I was kind of surprised. I'm like, okay, is she really this big a thing? So I thought I better have a look. So I had a look at like all the videos I could find, and I could find about 15. They're all, I felt her image was what pulled me back with her. It was like, seemed really cliched. The whole bored, unenthusiastic, depressed teenage girl, like, wearing baggy clothes and green hair and lots of jewelry, and it just felt like it had all been done before. It felt very cliched, and and not very inspiring or motivating. And it's a lot harder to be inspiring and motivating and make people care or love or dance or stuff than just sit and be depressed and moan. It's very easy to depress teenagers. They're already depressed because the real world is hitting them. And we've all been there. I'm not sure I've totally gotten out of that phase myself, sadly. Gay men get stuck with the Peter Pan syndrome a bit. But so that attracted me to her, but I just sort of was like, I just feel like she's cliched. I feel like she's like this 18-year-old who thinks she's original and she's the first to do all this, and she's not. And she's singing to a bunch of people who think she's the first person to do all this because they don't know anything, because all they've seen is like artists from the last couple of years because they're teenagers. So I was being fairly dark on her. I think I'm getting cold. But watched the videos and I'm like, she's interesting. I like her music. That's what surprised me. I actually listened to the songs and I actually like the music. Her images, it's all shock. It's all trying to get attention. It's all trying to gross people out. Spiders and just dark. And I'm just trying to think what were all the things that we saw in the videos. And just she's constantly doing the Gaga thing of rubbing blood or ink all over her face and everything, and bleeding from the eyes, and it's all stuff we've seen before, and I'm not quite sure. I mean, the people, her managers, her people who are promoting her, they're very much in charge or very much influencing the image and how they promote it. And, you know, you sort of see all this stuff. You sort of watch people after a few years, they sort of go through these phases, and then they sort of fall out of favor, and then they sort of change and revert back to who they sort of really are, not like sort of the manufactured image. And I'm kind of curious where she's going to go and how much of this is really her and her own original work, because the thing that she did do that kind of surprised me that gives her some credit is she actually directed her last two videos. Now, I love Madonna, but as far as I know, she's never directed any of her own videos, and that always disappointed me. I know she's directed a couple of films now, but she never directed any of her videos. And I always was like, why aren't you directing your own videos? What, like, are you just... I think the assumption was she was always such a control freak and in control of anything. Any director she worked with was sort of just doing what she was telling them anyway, so maybe she sort of was directing all her own videos. I don't know. But I was impressed by that, and that sort of made me think, well, maybe this is very much her own expression, her own image, and she's in charge of her image and in control of it. So maybe she is more of an artist than I was giving her credit for. So, yep, I watched a bunch of videos. I watched her receive the awards and that, and I was a little bit annoyed with her because I'm like, okay, there are other people who would have loved those awards. Please take it a bit more seriously. They were sort of like, oh God, we thought other people should have this, and we're just sort of not sure why we're here. And they didn't really say much. And I'm like, oh, they weren't trying to be disrespectful. I think they kind of were. Like the last award, they just walked up and said together, thank you, and left. And it is cute that her and her brother have worked together. And no one was really acknowledging him before, but now, because he worked with her on everything, he's getting all the Grammys as well. So people are actually noticing that this guy's actually... They're more of a duo. It's more like the Carpenters than just Billie Eilish, but that's the image that they were pushing. So it'll be curious to see now how they are looked at and received in the near future. But I'm just going to say, a lot of people are surprised that Lizzo didn't win, Ariana didn't win, Little Nas. Now, they did the best performance of the night simply because they included everyone and everything and the kitchen sink with rhinestones on it. I mean, it was amazing. But he didn't get the award. And he's a one-hit wonder. He's never going to be seen again. If he didn't get this award, he's not going to get anything. Now, Billie could be gone in a couple of years because that is how these go. I mean, she's the big thing now. Taylor Swift was, now she's gone. Ariana Grande, she was the big thing, now she's gone. Now it's all about Billie. And that's just the way the industry is. They just finance with the payola and all their power. They just focus on a couple of people, get them hot, get them going, sell them to the latest bunch of teenagers, and then once those guys age out of the 18-year-old group that they're targeting and marketing, who are apparently the only people that matter, then they just move on to the next one. So I noticed Taylor slipped out a year or so ago. She started to fall out of favour, and Rihanna went a while ago, and you just sort of see this happen. Now, it happened with Madonna too, but she pulled it back. She pulled it back for Like a Prayer, and she kept pulling back the payola and the attention, and she managed to last so much longer than all these others because she kept managing to pull back the attention and get support, because you can't do it without support from the industry. Now, unfortunately, she hasn't had any support from the industry since she did the Super Bowl and MDNA, so that's why her last few albums are dead. And it is funny that with all the talk of how great Madame X is and how it's the best thing she's done, better than Like a Prayer, better than Confessions, better than all of that, all the fans are saying it's the greatest thing she's ever done, and a lot of critics are saying it's the most interesting experimental thing she's done, and there's a lot of praise, but yet it's not getting any awards, it's not getting much attention, it's not getting record sales. She's pretty much selling out the Madame X tour, but it's not like it just blew out in a minute. And of course there's a lot of, oh God, I'm not even going to talk about all that, but yeah, Grammys, interesting. And I guess the last thing I'm going to say is like I was saying before, a lot of people expected Lil Nas, Lil Nas, um, Lizzo and Ariana and that, and I do happen to notice that Billie is the whitest out of all of them. Did anyone notice that? She got all the awards and she's the whitest out of all of them. I don't think I don't think that's an accident. I think the whole Oscars so white, Grammys so white. It is a thing. It's still happening. It's still the people in charge are still just looking for the whitest, most traditional, conventional sort of acts. Now, just to put a little epilogue on this, I am aware that Lizzo and Lil Nas and all that did win other awards. Him and Billy Ray got the best duo, and Lizzo got urban contemporary album, stuff like that. So they did get Grammys, but the main ones still seem to just, I don't know, they just seem to always go to the whitest person. So I'm just, yeah. And I know I'm very white myself, and I've probably benefited quite a bit from white entitlement in my life, but it doesn't mean I actually support it. And it may be something you're not aware of for a long time. I certainly wasn't, but it doesn't mean you actually endorse it or anything. So I just sort of felt like, I'm not sure if she actually deserved all of them, all the awards. If she, I'm not, I mean, I think, you know, new artist, yes, I don't know. So I was a bit disappointed that other people didn't get as much recognition as they did. I know people did get awards and that, so it wasn't just like all white people. I didn't want to sound like that, but I still think that there's still always the first choice.